Hi, friends, and welcome. This is day 12 of my 40-day challenge of bringing spiritual insights to you. And so, this message is for someone who tends to be more hard on themselves, more critical. And the message that I was receiving in meditation is you do not have to carry it all. And so, what does that mean? What I was receiving is that Earth is a schoolroom and we are learning and growing and evolving. And if you can remember as a child, right, that your parents gave you grace. They recognized that you were learning to walk, you were learning to read, you were learning to do all of these different things. And so as children, we tended to be more fluid in the sense that when things didn't work out, we just kind of got back up and kept trying and kept going. And we just continued to learn and grow. And as we become adults, I think that we forget that we are still learning, growing, and evolving. And we don't arrive at this perfect state. There is no absolute perfection on earth. And I think when we get caught up in that, that this is what creates so much stress and anxiety in our life, that we look at the external world, we look at the things going on in our environment, we look at social media and we start comparing ourselves, or we start um, just feeling like we don't measure up. And so, what I was receiving is that remember that you're this spiritual being, but you're having this human experience. And so, we are always learning and growing and evolving. And it takes great courage, when you make a mistake to actually own it, right? To take a pause and to acknowledge it and to reflect on it. This is what they're saying, is that if we just take some time, right? If something happens and we're triggered or we have resistance, or we do something, we act out in a way that is not kind, this is our opportunity to pause and to begin to reflect and begin to say to ourselves, what is the lesson here in this? And when we can self reflect, then we can become really clear on what the lesson is that we needed to learn in that moment, in that situation, because there will always be parts of us, programs and patterns and distortions that we need to see and have self awareness around in order to be able to consciously dissolve those and choose something different in the next experience. And this is the other thing I was receiving, is that we are we have primarily been unconscious, and now as we're awakening, we're becoming conscious. So you will begin to have more and more increased self-awareness, and this allows us to really see and examine, right, our reactions that we have, whether or not we respond, whether or not we are consciously choosing what we are saying and how we are being, and what energy we are bringing into every moment and every situation. And this takes practice and it takes time. So the message that I was also receiving is that to have grace for yourself. You can give yourself grace. You can give yourself compassion. So, to have compassion in the moment when you feel that you made a mistake or that you reacted in a way that is not typically you, or you suddenly have the awareness that you're reacting in a way that you no longer want to be like. And so, having self compassion and grace and self love, and recognizing that it's okay to make a mistake. Because when we become aware of it, this is our opportunity to learn the lesson, to follow that experience back to its root and discover why did I act that way, why did I feel that way, and what is the truth here, right? And as we start asking those questions, we can begin to see, oh wow, in this particular situation, when that person said that to me, I got really triggered by that. And if I think back, My mother used to say something like that to me, and it used to really upset me. So often things in life are this mirror, and it's just a situation comes up for us to actually see and recognize that sometimes it wasn't even ours to carry. And that's this beautiful message that I was receiving, is that you don't have to carry it all. You don't need to be so hard on yourself and so critical, and recognize that we all make mistakes, and to own it, right? When we make a mistake, or when we act in a way or speak in a way that is hurtful to someone else, that is unkind, when we are not in alignment with the truth of who we are, when we know that what we said or what we did was not in alignment, then that is really this beautiful opportunity for self reflection, for compassion, for self forgiveness, and to recognize that when we learn that lesson, we can move on, and we don't need to carry it anymore. We don't need to carry the guilt. We don't need to carry the shame. We can let that rest, okay? Or take it to the altar and give it to God, give it to this infinite intelligence, and just repent and offload that, and recognize that you learned that lesson and you can move forward. And so remember this beautiful message of you don't have to carry it all, and to be kind with yourself, to self reflect, and to recognize that you can always refine the truth of who you are. You are just uncovering and removing those layers of things that are not really the truth of your spiritual being, your higher self, this divine expression, your divinity. And earth is teaching us, or this experience on earth is teaching us to really refine and recognize what is distortion and what is the truth of who we are. So if this video was helpful for you, then please like and subscribe and share it with someone that you feel would need this message, someone who is also hard on themselves, is self-critical, and could use these insights. I'll see you tomorrow.